Hey everyone, and welcome back to Handiworks. Today we're embarking on a very special embroidery adventure. 10 uncommon and absolutely beautiful hand embroidery stitches with a special focus on those lovely knots. Let's begin with the elegant knotted pearl stitch. I'm threading my needle with a beautiful purple floss. Using my ruler, I'm marking two parallel lines of dots about half a centimeter apart. Wrap the thread around the needle point once before pulling through. Continue working along your lines, creating these lovely knotted pearls. I am stitching about 5 to 6 inches long for my sample, and there's our first unique stitch. Next, we have the knotted chain stitch. I've marked a single line of dots with the same half centimeter gaps as our previous stitch. I'm using a vibrant orange embroidery floss for this one. This stitch looks like a classic chain, but with a little knot nestled into each link, giving it extra dimension. For every stitch we learn today, remember to watch my needle very carefully. Pay close attention to exactly where it goes down into the fabric and where it comes back up. This stitch is fantastic for borders or outlines where you want a bit more texture than a regular chain. Moving on to the eye-catching Indian edging stitch. I've drawn two parallel lines with the same half centimeter spacing, but this time I'm placing the dots in a zigzag pattern between the lines. I am using a fresh green floss. This stitch creates beautiful triangular shapes along the edge, making it incredibly versatile for decorative borders. Follow these dots for every stitch and you'll get a beautifully consistent knotted border. It's a very dynamic and interesting border stitch. Our fourth stitch is the beautiful knotted diamond. I am using a lovely pink floss for this, and I've drawn two parallel lines of dots, just like for our first stitch. This stitch creates elegant diamond shapes along your lines, each one defined by tiny knots. Make a diagonal stitch, secure it with a small knot by wrapping the thread, and then continue forming the diamond shape with subsequent stitches, incorporating more knots at key points. Watch how the knots really define those diamond corners. It's a very sophisticated look. Next up is the raised chain stitch. I've drawn two parallel lines of dots for this one. We'll start by stitching straight stitches between the dots, working from left to right. Once that foundation is done, we'll then weave our needle back from right to left through those straight stitches, creating the raised chain effect. It's a clever way to add texture and height to your designs, perfect for outlines that you want to stand out. Our sixth stitch is the unique knotted feather, sometimes called the Spanish knotted feather stitch. I'm using a beautiful blue floss. I've drawn two lines here and will be stitching it in a zigzag manner. It's a fantastic border stitch that can be used alone or combined with other elements. Watch how the knots add definition to each feathered segment, very striking. Follow these dots for every stitch and you'll get a beautifully consistent knotted border. Now for our seventh stitch, the Palestrina knot. This stitch creates a wonderfully textured, almost bumpy line of knots that's quite different from the others. It's excellent for adding a tactile border or even for filling in shapes. Follow carefully and you'll see how quickly these unique knots form. Our eighth stitch is the interesting Danish knot. I have marked two parallel lines of dots in a zigzag pattern, similar to the Indian edging stitch, but this one creates its own distinct look. I'm using a fresh mint green floss for this stitch. It's a very pretty border stitch that creates a textured, almost braided effect. Watch how the knots are formed as you travel between the zigzag points. It's a very engaging stitch to make. Moving on to our ninth stitch, the elegant Portuguese knotted stem. For this, I've marked a single line of dots. This stitch creates a beautiful rope-like stem with little knots that sit on top, adding a lovely raised texture. It's perfect for outlining stems or adding a decorative line. It's a very satisfying stitch to watch come to life. And finally, our 10th stitch, the German knotted blanket stitch. I'm using a rich dark green floss for this last one, and I've marked two lines of dots. This stitch is a fantastic variation of the blanket stitch, incorporating knots to create a very sturdy and decorative edge. These are not your everyday stitches, and they really add a touch of artistry to your work. Use any single stitch as a continuous border for dresses, blouses, skirts, or even tablecloths. Some of these denser knots can even be used to create textured fills for smaller areas. Remember, practice makes perfect. Take your time, enjoy the process, and soon you'll be stitching these unique beauties with ease.